I love this as the Boston Celtics made a very underrated pickup this offseason with the addition of Mike Conley and what he brings to this team for this season. And why is this so important to have him on this team? And well, I'm going to get into all that and more here on this video on Celtics Digest. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. I am your host, Patrick Billings. And before we get into anything on this video, guys, if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, as there's 66.1% of you guys not yet subscribed, but watch our content over here. If you love the content, subscribing is absolutely free and you will not miss any other Celtics news, updates, trades, anything that has to do with the Boston Celtics. It'll be right over here on Celtics Digest, so you're not going to want to miss it, as we are just about 2 months until the NBA season begins, which is absolutely crazy, and things are going to start ramping up. There's going to be a lot of news, so you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already. But with that being said, everybody, let's get into this video as we're talking about Mike Conley. This is a signing that I truly loved for the Boston Celtics. I think it kind of just went under the radar a little bit because of how old he is. And you're probably thinking, what type of impact is he going to make? He's kind of just not going to get any minutes. And what help does he bring for this team? Well, Mike Conley comes into this with multiple, Teammates of the Year awards and multiple sportsmanship awards from the NBA, which is like, why does that matter? We want a guy with MVPs and all this stuff. Well, the locker room, and especially as a veteran presence, that means everything to a young team, and especially a brand new team, to help a lot of these guys in their NBA career and really hold down the locker room and almost be a player coach in a way, somebody who's going to be there for these guys, teach them anything that they need to know. That is going to be Mike Conley's role, and I truly believe that he will get some time on the court here and there. You never know what's going to go on with foul trouble, and maybe if they want to switch things up. But I think that this goes under the radar as we read an article here on Celtics Sports Illustrated, just as Brad Stevens was talking about Mike Conley, and quote, it says here, people talk about veteran leadership and they talk about how important vets are. And my argument to that would be good vets are really important, Brad Stevens said in a recent behind-the-scenes video released by the Celtics. Guys that have a really great understanding of where they are in their career and how they impact winning, and the appropriate amount of expectation from the individual standpoint. And I think that's what you get with Mike. Of course, it's about playing basketball, something Conley does, through not quite as well as he used to, of course. He's been around forever, going 4th in the '07 draft, of course, and he will be going into his 20th year in the NBA, and there's not many players that get the opportunity to play 20 years in the league. So he has absolutely seen some things, and he's absolutely been through some things. I think that he really made a huge impact over in Minnesota, helping out Anthony Edwards and many other of those young guys. And I think bringing him in to do the exact same thing for the guys that we have, like Baylor, Payton, even Derrick White at a point, Jayson Tatum, a lot of these young guys, Ugo, I think that it's going to be great for the locker room. And this article continues on to say, with more quotes from Brad, and he still, every time he plays, has an impact on winning, Stevens said in the video. And so I think the balance of being able to play at a high level, not needing to play every minute of every game, is an incredibly valuable thing. And it's usually reserved for guys that have a good perspective on life, and Mike certainly has that. And as it goes on to say here, of course he's going to bring in a bunch of DNPs on the box score, but he said he spent years talking about the value of having players who understand they won't play all the time and are fine with that. And I think that this is the perfect role for Mike Conley, because even if he does step on the court, I believe that he's still able to really hold his own and, bring something to this team. If there's guys like Payton Pritchard and Derrick White get into foul trouble, I don't see how you could be nervous bringing in Mike Conley, somebody who's going to control the court and the offense. I think that you're going to feel very comfortable with having some minutes for him, because he can still hang in there. He's not retired for a reason. He still believes that he could play, and so do the Boston Celtics, obviously, knowing that his role could be different, but they believe that he could step on the court and make an impact if need be. And of course, again, this goes into talking about how we are not that deep at point guard with the two that I just mentioned. And obviously, after the Anthony Simons trade, and the Celtics wanted to keep a ball handle on the floor at all times. And of course, Jayson Tatum will have those opportunities, but there will be games, as it says, where Payton Pritchard or White sit and Conley get some run, but the Celtics could use him in some all-shooting, small ball lineups, as he did not have a good shooting season, which obviously, did he lose his touch? Is he that old? Should he even be playing anymore? Well, this is something for the Boston Celtics to figure out for themselves, as they usually do a great job in developing people's shooting and their consistencies, and maybe that's something that they can work on to where he could just run the offense and work on some catch and shoot threes when he's left wide open, and because he won't really have to do much. Maybe he'll drive into the paint, create some open threes into the corner. That's exactly what he will need to do. And another good thing that stood out in a different article is really talking about, Payton Pritchard and Mike Conley trying to start a relationship. And Payton Pritchard goes into saying, and I'm going to be asking and seeing where his mind is at about how he thinks about the game, talking about he's just had so many great years and all-star appearances, winning a lot of games. So I'm fortunate to be able to have somebody like that on my team that I can learn from. And this also goes into talking about, and Mitchell Robinson, as they were teammates as a USA U19 trial, so he's known him for a while, and we're definitely very lucky to have him. Best rebounder in the league, second chances. It's going to be a big help in having someone like PG. We saw what he did to us in the playoffs. He's going to be a great player and does a lot. So I think this is something that's really good for the team, and something that's really good to hear that these guys are talking already. Obviously, we're two more months until the season starts. So, of course, you would love to know that these guys are talking and hopefully gaining a relationship. But for someone like Payton Pritchard to go out there and just say that he wants to know more of what Mike Conley has to offer and what he could teach him, especially at this point in his career, is something that you really want to hear. I think that Payton Pritchard is going to benefit greatly from Mike Conley's presence this season, assuming that this is his last one playing in the NBA. I think that this could just do wonders for Payton Pritchard down the line. And guys, that's going to do it for this one here on Celtics Digest. So make sure you drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you have not already. But make sure you go to those comments too. And I want to know your guys' perspective on Mike Conley's role this season. Obviously, he's going to be that veteran presence guy. But what do you think that he is going to bring to this team this season and helping these other young guys grow in their NBA career? And guys, I will see every single one of you in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Let's go Boston Celtics.